This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. All right. And I'm going to jump down and I want to get to the main point. All right. And this is verse 8. It says, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishop, and elders, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren pushing this word in all sincerity and in truth. To the hopeful elect, 144,000, shalom, and to the great multitude, men, women, and children, that will receive mercy from the Lord in these last days, shalom. It's the brother Dama Agabar here with another lesson, Lord willing to edify through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. All right, and I started this lesson with the book of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. And as you can see, the title, it says a time for everything. All right, and the main point I wanted to pull out of this, out of the book of Ecclesiastes was the 8th chapter, which is that what? There is a time for love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. All right, which we're definitely living in the time of war. And this is something that we've been prophesying and warning, the world about for a very long time now, is that, this third world war is a biblical, it's prophesied in the Bible that Babylon the Great, which is America, will eventually, be drawn into this third world war, which is ramping up, which is taking form, which is being prepared, by the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, because, something that these people don't really understand and don't want to really come to the realization of is that the Most High Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, he's a God of war. All right. And he's all for war. He's the creator and the author of war. All right. And he has it prophesied and written within the story of, of the story of this world, that there's going to be a third world war, which is going to be the war to end all wars, because it's going to involve the nuclear missiles, which are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. All right. And he has, Babylon the Great, America, at the forefront of being destroyed in that fashion and in that way. All right. And the Lord is just he's going to use Russia, China, a lot of these different, superpower nations, India, North Korea, a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, basically all these nations that possess these nuclear missiles, or the arrows, as the Bible refers to them as. He's going to put it in their spirit to empty those sheaths and shoot their arrows here on Babylon the Great, America, in the midst of this third world war. And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it. All right. There's not going to be any peace talks. There's not going to be any denuclearizing, if that's a word, or a situation to where peace is going to come and these nations are going to sit down at the table and talk it up and decide not to go to war, because war is prophesied. It is the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. And we're entering in the time where war is about to be, at a grand scale. And you see, and this is going to be the last war that this earth is ever going to see. That's why, the Lord is having all these nations to get involved, because, hey, this war is going to be, a devastating, war. And the Lord wants it to go nuclear, because it's all the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, right? And I was reading this article here from Zero Hedge. It says 10 signs that global war is rapidly approaching. You see, and we know it's approaching because prophecy tells us so. And like I said, we see all these different wars and rumors of wars, these proxy wars, the war with Ukraine, and Russia. We know that Taiwan and China is going to eventually go to war. We know that what's going on over there with with the state of Israel and those Gazans and the Palestinians, that's going to continue to get hot and more, and more physical, until eventually, hey, America will be drawn into the Middle East to fight in this third world war when, Israel really gets lit up and, that situation gets to the point to where prophecy is going to come to pass. All right. And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it. All right. So this is some of this article. It says, are we on the verge of an apocalyptic global war in which billions of people could die? And the answer is yes. Why? Because it is the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. It's already been written in the fabric of prophecy in the timeline of the timeline of this earth. You see? It says very few people anticipate that World War I would erupt, but it happened anyway. And very few people anticipated that World War II would erupt, but it happened anyway. And all throughout human history, there have been wars, right? Because like I said earlier, it was at Genesis 3 and 15, I think. It says Yahweh is a God of war. Now, if the Lord didn't want war, then he wouldn't put it on the spirit on these nations to go to war. He could make these places be prosperous and peaceful, but this is not the time that we're in. We're in the time of war and hatred and, you know, um, great destruction, man, and judgment. It says, ever since the beginning, it has just been a matter of time before major powers collide. Unfortunately, even though a very alarming warning signals are flashing all around us, right? Like I said, you got the wars and the rumors of wars. And ultimately, prophecy speaks to this. And we've been out there telling these nations that they're going to eventually go to this, they're going to get involved in this Third World War, which, in the midst of this Third World War, Yahawashi is going to make his glorious return. And these nations are going to try to fight against Yahawashi and all of the angels, and they're going to be destroyed and broken without hand. Remember, these nations are being ultimately gathered in the valley of Jehoshaphat to fight in this Third World War, so that Yahawashi can come and be victorious and defeat all of these kings, these nations, their armies, to establish his rulership and his power and his government on this earth. You see, because only way that power can be translated is through war, and you can only really have peace through war. And that's why Yahawashi's government shall be peace, an everlasting, peaceful, righteous kingdom. But first, he has to come in the midst of this war against these nations trying to fight and jockey for position. Yahawashi is going to come and take down all these nations, which is why he's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And he's going to have all the crowns upon his head after he comes in the midst of this war to basically strip these nations of their sovereignty and of their power. See, this is really why this Third World War is being started. Is for Yahawashi to come back and to, judge these nations. So it's already in the cards. It's all going to play out exactly how Scripture says it is. All right, because it's going to serve a purpose. It says very alarming warning signals are flashing all around us. Most of the population of Western world seems absolutely clueless about what is really going on out there, right? Because the majority of the Western world is caught up in their own bullshit. Remember, America has never been invaded. Americans have never known what it's like to be entrenched in a war on their own soil, or that really, drastically involves them. But it's going to happen in this Third World War. This is why you hear them talking about now of having a draft here in America. And you see a lot of these other countries are getting ready to draft and have conscriptions because they know that eventually war is coming. And war is the only card that America really has left to play, because they're being financially, moved out of a position of power. So the only card they have left to play is to go to war. And that's why you see them poking the bear. They're doing all this shit to Russia. They're going to have to fight, man. They really have no other option. And Yahawashi has put America, Babylon the Great, in this position because, hey, everything is going to fulfill the will of Yahawashi. It says leaders all over the planet seem to have come down with a really bad sense of war fever, and preparations for apocalyptic showdowns are being made. Now, why do it say that all of these leaders around the planet seem to have war fever? It's because the Lord is putting that spirit on these nations to go to war. All right, and this is Proverbs chapter 21, verse 1. It says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. And when you go to that word heart in the Hebrew, the word is lab. It means the mind. You see, so all of these leaders in these nations that are gathering together for this war is ultimately because the Lord is putting the spirit on these nations to go to war. Now, you might hear Putin say, well, I can have peace talks and we should have peace, but there's not going to be any peace. Remember, the Lord is going to put a spirit on these kings and these leaders of these different countries to go to war, whether they want to or not. Nobody can resist the will of Yahawashi, and all things are going to be done according to his will. It says the king's heart or the king's mind is in the hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, and as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. You see? So the Lord's going to put it in their mind to go to war, whether they want to or not. They know how detrimental and how, devastating this Third World War is going to be. Now, in their mind, they might say, look, they're going to be ways that we possibly could avoid it. We could have peace talks. But guess what? The Lord's going to put it in their minds to go to war regardless. All right. And this is why all these things are happening. It says 10 signs that global war is rapidly approaching. See, because all these signs that they're showing is all the will. Remember, this is the Lord putting it on the spirit of these nations to do these things, ultimately to fulfill his will. So it says, number one, it says Politico is reporting that Israel and Hezbollah have both drafted battle plans, and the Biden administration is convinced that intense fighting is likely to break out. And why is it going to break out? Because this is all the will of Yahawashi. This is the Lord putting it on the spirit of these nations to do these things, because he wants the desired result. You see? It says both sides have publicly said they do not want to go to war, but remember, it's not up to what these sides believe or what they want to do. It's what the Lord wants to do. And like I read in Ecclesiastes, there's a time for everything under heaven, and we're in the time of war, and the Lord's going to put it on the spirit of these leaders to go to war. All right. And like I said, they're going to have a draft here in America. A lot of you Gen Zers, a lot of you American men and women are going to get drafted and be put on the front lines of this great meat grinder, whether you want to believe it or not. It's all the will of Yahawashi, and his will shall be done, man. It says both sides have publicly said they do not want to go to war, but senior Biden officials increasingly believe that intense fighting is likely to break out, despite efforts to try to prevent it, because you can't prevent it, all right? It says what? Number two, Iran is warning that there will be an obliterating war if the IDF enters southern Lebanon. And guess what? The Lord is going to put it on the spirit of those, the IDF, the Israel Defense Force, to go into southern Lebanon at the time appointed. It says Israel will face an obliterating war. You see, and this is when America is going to get involved, and I'm going to show you scripturally. It says Israel will face an obliterating war if it embarks on full-scale military aggression against Hezbollah. It says, albeit Iran deems as psychological warfare the Zionist regime propaganda about intending to attack Lebanon should it embark on full-scale military aggression. An obliterating war will ensue. All options, including the full involvement of all resistant fronts, are on the table, the Post reads. And guess what? The Lord is going to allow these nations to do that. And number three says, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is convinced that a major war with Iran is inevitable. See? Because he believes that the Iranians have plans to conquer, which that's a lie. We know that those small hats are being the aggressor. We know that they want to take full control. But like as the devil do, they're always trying to say that it's Iran trying to be the aggressor, but it's really those small hats being the aggressor. And the Lord's going to allow them to be the aggressor, and to the point to where, these things are going to happen. You see, it says, that means actually conquer Saudi Arabia, conquer the Arabian Peninsula is just a question of time, he warned. You see, and that is going to happen, to where the situation with Israel and Iran is going to eventually cause this to happen. This is Jeremiah 49, verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Edom. Who was Edom? The so-called white man. All right. And those small hats, a lot of them over there, they're Edomites. All right. The West, America, is Esau, Edom. The beast, NATO, the EU, that's all the beast system, the revival of Rome, which is Esau's power structure. You see? It says, and his purpose is that he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And who is the least of the flock? Those small hats, those 1948ers over there. And that situation with Iran and Israel is going to eventually, cause what? America to be drawn out over there into the Middle East to go to protect Israel, their ally, from being destroyed. And that's going to bring what? Russia, and because Russia is a ally to Iran. And it's going to eventually cause, this third world war to break out, and for these nations to be gathered over there into the Middle East to fight this third world war. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. You see, the earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea, which is over there in the Middle East, It says, behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs, because it's going to eventually lead to the Third World War and America being totally obliterated with nuclear missiles, man. You see, and this is the situation, with Iran and Israel, which is going to cause America to get involved in this Third World War. So it's all prophecy. It's all prophetic. This is just chess moves being made by Yahawashi to bring in this Third World War. what does it say? It says, according to NBC News, the U.S. is moving military assets into position so they can be ready to evacuate Americans once an all-out war erupts. See? Because they know in their heart of hearts they're going to eventually go to war, but they don't. They think it's on their own accord. They think they're going to war to, to further advance and set themselves up. But really, they're being brought into this third world war to be destroyed by Yahawashi and the angels. See, in number 5, Hezbollah sent approximately 40 rockets into northern Israel. So these wars and little rumors of wars and these things are just going to escalate to the point to where all hell is going to break loose. Right? What's this? 7 says, on Saturday, Israeli aircraft bombed several Hezbollah targets. You see it over here in the West, while everybody is caught up with our day-to-day lives. People are going to work. They just celebrated the 4th of July. They're barbecuing. They're getting ready for the NFL season. The BET Awards. It's business, wicked business as usual here in the West. But meanwhile, over there in the Middle East, bombs are dropping every fucking day, man. Military advancements are being moved. Rockets are dropping. They're dropping rockets. They're dropping bombs. People are getting shot and killed. World War III is ramping up over there in the Middle East, while here in the West it's just business as usual. And the average person here in America don't know what's really going on over there in those Middle Eastern countries. But this war is brewing up. All these things are setting the stage, for this third world war, which is why, like I said, they're talking about having a draft here in the West. And these average everyday Americans don't know why they're talking about having a draft. All these Gen Zers know is that they don't want to fight and they don't want to go, but they don't really see how bad things are getting all around the world via this war. It says what? Number 6, Israeli aircraft bombed several Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon. It said number 7, I know that I wrote about this last week, but I couldn't leave this particular item out of this article. Apparently, Biden is thinking about approving a plan that would allow U.S. military contractors to deploy in Ukraine, which they're already doing that, man. They're over there using American weapons, over there in Ukraine against Russia, which Putin is said that's basically he's hold the West accountable. So all type of shit is happening that's leading to this war coming. You see, and it says what? Number 8, Vladimir Putin is reportedly interested in developing a coalition of nations that would rival the West and NATO. You see, so these nations are being gathered for war, man. You see, look at that. Putin is warning that Russia will need to begin production of intermediate range nuclear weapon systems. You see, and hey, man, this thing is happening whether you people want to accept it or not. Because, like I said, it's all the will of Yahawashi and Yahawashi, right? So let me get a couple more precepts and I'm going to close it out. And this is Joel chapter 3, verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. And these Gentiles is literally talking about the actual Gentiles, these heathen nations. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. You see? And we're at the point to where, it's about to be literally this, where all these nations are going to be involved in this third world war. There's not going to be any winners on the side of these heathens, but the only winner is going to be Yahawashi and the elect of Israel, because this war is going to be, set up so that the name of Yahawashi can be glorified and praised, and His kingdom can be established. So you nations are just being pawns. Your pawns being used by the Most High to basically to glorify Yahawashi, all right, and to dethrone you and put you exactly where you need to be. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And now these nations who weren't so strong, who was feeble to the West, now they're strong because now they got, they're allied with Russia, with China. You got the BRICS going on. They're giving each other military weapons. They're, doing business with one another to where now they're able to build up their militaries. And now they possess the equalizer, which is these nuclear missiles. While America's military is still powerful and strong, it's still deteriorating. It's still not up to date. It's not up to par and as sophisticated as these, as China and Russia with their more technical and more advanced weaponry. And they're sharing it with these other nations and their allies. And now they're all linking up to strike that blow to the West, America, man. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. And this is what this article is telling you. This is why all these 10 things are signs that, a nuclear third world war is coming. And all these things are the result is going to end and is going to be the end result of what I'm reading right here in Joel, the 3rd chapter. Well, eventually all these nations are going to be gathered together to fight in this third world war over there in the Middle East. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and that's Jehoshaphat is Yahawashi, which is over there in the Middle East, which this word Jehoshaphat means Yahweh's judgment. Because why? He's going to judge these nations via in the midst of this third world war when Yahawashi returns, and I'm going to show you. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. You see, so this third world war is being set up just so that these heathens and their armies can be judged by Yahawashi and Yahawashi. Point blank, period. That's the whole purpose of this third world war, is for these heathens to be judged. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. You see? Yeah, that day is drawing near. And all these different signs and all these little proxies are going to eventually lead to the ultimate war to break out, to where Yahawashi is going to return and judge these heathens. It says, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. It says, Yahweh also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And this is when Yahawashi makes his glorious return, when he cracks those clouds in the midst of this third world war. And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahweh will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am Yahweh, your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall be no strangers pass through her anymore. Right? See, and that's, Yahawashi is gonna, he's gonna redeem us and deliver his elect, and we're gonna, and part of this war is to release us out of this captivity that we're under Esau, Edom, and these nations, man. And Yahawashi is gonna establish his throne and his kingdom forever. All right, and let me get this, man. This is Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. And who is to prey? These nations. And they're going to be visited during this war. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations. Where is he going to gather them? In the valley of Jehoshaphat, over there in the Middle East, over there for this third world war, which, like I said, they're thinking that this war they're fighting amongst them, but really the Lord is setting up so that these nations can fight against Yahawashi and be totally broken without hand. It says, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy, man. All right, and let's get this white horse. See? I want to get this one. This is a Revelation chapter. Look, the coming of, it says Christ, but of Yahawashi, Hamashiach. It says, and I saw heaven open. This is going to take place in the middle of this third world war, when Yahawashi is going to crack those clouds and come back with all the hosts, the thousands of angels to judge these nations. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and that white horse represents the chariots. All right, what the world calls a UFO, which are the chariots, or the chariots of Israel, which is Yahawashi is coming back on with the holy angels. It says, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. You see? Yahawashi is coming back to make war in the midst of the third world war against these nations. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, and he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God, which is Yahawashi. And why does he have many crowns? Because he's coming to conquer these nations, all right? This is why he's known as the conquering Lion of Judah. It says, and the armies which were in heaven, which are the angels, and what they call the UAPs, the UFOs, which are the chariots, followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he should rule them with a rod of iron. You see, so this whole third world war is going to take place just so Yahawashi can come back and to exert his dominance and to smite these nations and judge these nations and their armies, man, so that he can establish his kingdom and his righteousness on this earth. And he shall rule them. What? He's going to rule them? Yeah. Let's look up this word for rule. See, because people have this misunderstanding that when the Lord's come back, he's coming back to love and to be happy and to bring all nations together and have this rainbow coalition. No, he's coming to establish his kingdom and his righteousness, man, and to deliver his elect and set up his kingdom, which is going to be under King David and the 144,000 that the Israelites are going to rule. And this word for rule is a poimano. It says to rule, govern. You see? Yeah, to rule. Let's look up the root word. It says poimen. It says a shepherd. Well, Yahawashi he is the chief shepherd because he's gonna lead this world in righteousness. Let me see. Yeah, the presiding officer, manager, director of any assembly. So of Hamashiach, the head of the church. And the church is not all these different nations, all right? The church is the Israelites, man. The church consists of Israel, the elect of Israel, all right? It says, of the overseers of the, it says, Christian assemblies, of kings and princes, right? And who's going to be the kings and princes under Yahawashi's kingdom is going to be the Israelites, starting with King David and 144,000. We're going to be a nation of kings and priests, and we're going to rule over these heathen nations, and we're going to show them, how to worship Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. They're going to have to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments in the kingdom of heaven, all right? It says, what was it? Yeah, it says, he should rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the Almighty God, and he had on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. You see, and this is going to be established after he comes in the midst of this third world war to establish, to judge these nations, man. And this is why this war is going to be fought, to establish Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. All right. It says, and I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God. Because all these military men, they're all going to be destroyed and broken by Yahawashi and the angels in the midst of this war. Right? And it says that they may eat the flesh of kings and the flesh of captains and the flesh of mighty men and the flesh of horses and of them that sit on them and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And what's going to happen? They're going to be destroyed and broken without hand. And you can read that in 2nd Ezra. What's that? The 16th chapter, I believe. It tells you when Yahawashi comes, how they're going to be afraid but durst fight. And after the smoke cleared and the dust settled, only Yahawashi and the angels remained victorious. And these nations were destroyed, man. All right. And this is why this third world war is being, established. And it's going to happen because prophecy has to be fulfilled. And we know that Yahawashi is going to come in the midst of this war, and he's going to take his seat at the head of the table. And these nations are going to be broken, and they're going into slavery and into captivity, man. And all of this wickedness, America, Babylon the Great, is going to be literally destroyed. All right. The nations are going into slavery and into captivity under the Israelites. And you're going to be, we're going to, you're going to bend the knee. All right. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying. All right. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi for putting the spirit in me to do this lesson. Lord willing, you were edified. To the next one. Shalom.